If you approach your trading like a fund manager, where you're kind of trying to get this, exceptional return over time, but you're not trying to like, make a buck every day. It's not about just jumping in and scalping, a few bucks here and a few bucks there. So, at least not in futures trading. I mean, I personally don't know anyone who scalps futures and makes millions off it. I mean, maybe that was the case, pre electronic trading and pre algos and, maybe late 90s, early 2000s. Perhaps you could do that. Actually, one of the largest scalpers of the S&P, he was one of the largest size scalpers of the S&P back in the early, I want to say early to mid 2000s, right? Like this guy made millions off ES. And he was even featured in a book. And after the algos really started dominating, his edge went away. Like he couldn't make money scalping the S&P anymore. He eventually ended up actually becoming one of our students. He took the Open Trader training program, and eventually he changed his style to be more similar to what I do. But this guy, I'd read his book, like I'd read about him in a book back when I was learning how to trade. And, so many years later, he ends up becoming one of our students because that scalping edge completely went away. And this guy was one of the best of the best. So imagine like, some dude on YouTube, some retail guy on YouTube telling you he makes a ton of money scalping. Like I don't buy that. I don't believe it. Because this guy was one of the best of the best. He was working at a Chicago prop firm and making millions. Like I think he made 8 figures. As far as I remember, 8 figures. One of the best scalpers of the S&P futures, right? And he couldn't cut it in scalping anymore. So you think I'm going to buy some dude on YouTube with like, 2,000 subs who says he makes money scalping every day? Like, no, of course not. If he can't do it, and he had the resources and the expertise and just the natural talent and the risk tolerance to trade big size in the S&P, because that's the only way you make 7 and 8 figures. It's not by, flipping 5 lots. So he was trading hundreds of contracts at a time. If his edge went away in the late 2000s, like 2010, 11, then what chance does any retail trader have scalping the S&P? Yeah, good luck with that. So, this is a more methodical approach to trading. It's more of a long-term, hedge fund manager type of approach to trading where you're building your account over time, doubling your account every year, doubling the account every year. And then over time, you're trading larger, larger, larger. And then a few years into it is when you really start to make the big money. Now this message, unfortunately, doesn't resonate with new traders because there's just a lot of bullshit out there where guys showing you supercars saying you can be a millionaire within a year. Yeah, it just doesn't happen that way. So, this is a more methodical and systematic approach. It takes more time to get rich, but the likelihood of you actually holding on to your gains is also way higher. So we're not trading a lot every day. 1 to 3 trades, 4 trades a day is kind of what you should be looking for. If you have 20, 30 trades a day, there's probably a lot of low quality trades in there. And when you have so many, it's hard to distinguish between the good and the bad. If you have 30 trades, it's hard to figure out. It's kind of like, if you traded a methodology that had 30 setups, like how do you find which one this is? The beauty of this method is that we really only have like 4 trade setups. The zone fade, the pullback continuation, and the intraday balance breakout or breakdown. those are really kind of the top three, actually. You know, if I really have to distill it, we have three trade setups. And it is so much easier identifying one of three. You know, when you have three trade setups that you trade every single day, it's a hell of a lot easier to figure out, okay, what setup am I looking for now? What setup is in play? It's only one out of three. You know, now imagine if I taught you 30 different setups. Well, which of the 30 is in play now? Good luck figuring that out. So, this is just a simpler approach. I'm not saying it's an easier approach. I don't think trading is ever going to be easy, but it is a simpler approach that I believe is easier to learn. They're just saying you can't tell the story and not tell us his name or the name of the book. The name of the book, I believe, was it's by Brett Steenbarger. I want to say Enhancing Trader Performance. Oh yeah, it is. It is Enhancing Trader Performance. So if you guys want to check it out, it's Enhancing Trader Performance. I'm pretty sure that's the one. The trader that is featured in that book, the main trader who is featured in that book, traded at, I believe, Kingstree, I think, was the prop firm name. That was a trader who crushed it in the S&P as a scalper and then lost his edge as a scalper. And later on, he was a student in the Open Trader training program. I worked with him directly to help him regain edge. So if you want to check it out, go buy that book and you can read all about it.